If you feel stuck, if you feel like you have no way out and you're just trapped, I want you to hear something from me right now. You have options. As long as you are breathing, you have options. I need you to hear that today because believe me, there is someone, something, some system, some person in your life who benefits from you feeling like you don't have any options. You don't have the right to move how you want to move. You don't have the right to do what you want to do. And the reason why is because when you believe that, you become easier to control. We always have options. We always have power. Viktor Frankl survived Nazi concentration camps. And in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, he writes about how we always have options. We always have choices. We always have agency. So in this video, we are going to break down why you feel trapped, some of the options you may or may not be seeing, and how to reclaim your power. Let's talk about it. I want to give you a tangible example of this because it's all around us. Think about predatory lenders or like payday loan places. You don't normally see them in rich neighborhoods, right? You normally see them in like poor neighborhoods or transitional neighborhoods. And the reason why, I mean, on one hand, yeah, you could say it's good business for them because they want to target their audience, right? But on the other hand, you can say, why is that their target audience? It's because they are set up in a situation where they know people are going to be desperate. They know people are going to need help. And they're there to take advantage of it. And it's the same thing with us. We do have systems of control, right? We have a society, right? So there has to be some level of control. We have government that controls certain things. And then we have controlling people, manipulative people who control certain things as well. I've gone through so many situations in my life. I've had a pretty tough life and I've gone through so many situations in my life. I have been told by the people who should have been supporting my options, right? The people who should have been loving me the most, kind of being the wind beneath my wings, being the people to try to tear me down and make me feel like I have no options. So two examples come to mind, and I hope you can kind of see yourself in the story to kind of hear what I'm talking about here. The first thing was a super toxic work situation. The whole situation will have to probably be its own video, but let's just say I was in a situation where a lot was happening at the same time. I had an uncle who had a brain aneurysm, and he went from kind of working and supporting his family to basically being completely paralyzed, brain dead, and unable to speak. I suddenly had to take in his daughter to keep her from being put into foster care because of how bad the situation got after her dad got sick. So I'm dealing with I've never had kids, and I'm dealing with a grieving teenager at home that I have to support, right? So that's just another level of like challenge right there, right? Then at the same time, I had a whole bunch of health issues and that I didn't understand the reason behind, and that doctors couldn't figure out. And so I was just like, shoot, what do I need to do? And I was in the middle of, before all this happened, I was in the middle of building my business. I felt really good. And then I was like, oh no, I guess I need some more stability because, as you know, like starting out, if you're an entrepreneur, starting out a business is not easy and it's not the most stable thing. It can be very rewarding, but it's not stable. So I was just like, okay, I need to take on some additional work in order to support what's going on with my family member. And so I ended up starting up a conversation with someone who I originally was approaching in the client capacity, but they decided to hire me on. And this happened to be a religious organization. Basically, long story short, and I know now what I was dealing with. I know I was dealing with a controlling negative leader and also controlling negative organization because the organization is going to take on the characteristic of the leader. But I didn't know that at the time. So basically, fast forward 6 months ahead, I'm dealing with all this craziness at home. And then all of a sudden, now I'm at this job. They're paying me this salary. Now I am the highest paid person in the building besides the leaders, but nobody's really getting paid what they're worth, right? They had me doing about 5 different roles at once. They were not paying me for 5 roles. They were paying me for 1 role. So it was already a situation that was not set up for me to win. So I want you to think back, like, what are the circumstances in your life right now, whether it's people or relationships or career, what are the circumstances in your life that are not set up for you to win right now? It was just a no-win situation. No matter how hard I worked, there was always going to be more to do. And then on top of that, there were super, super, super toxic workplace dynamics. I'm talking about people crying at the office, people potentially being abused, all this stuff. And me and my naivete and in my innocence at the time was like, oh, but they're great leaders. They must not know What is going on? They must not know about these problem staff members and how they're treating people and da 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 da. So let me tell them. Let me go to them so it can be taken care of. I didn't gossip, right? I went directly to the leadership and was just like, hey, these are some things I'm seeing. I know we want to operate with this integrity and this standard because this is what you've communicated. This is what we've said we are to the community. So we don't want to be destroying people behind the scenes. What can we do to help mitigate this? And that turned into a whole storm of harassment and abuse that I did not see coming at all. And the reason why they felt like they could treat me that way or talk to me that way, I mean, it has some awful things said to me I can't even repeat on video. The reason why they felt like they could do that and try to blame and deflect on me is because they thought, oh, this girl has no options. She is talented and she's stressed and has pressure at home. Perfect combination for somebody that wants to use and abuse someone. I didn't realize that at the time, but I did know, and I did develop this mindset from when I was younger of like, hey, I always have options. As long as I'm breathing, there's something I can do. Even if my options are A or B, I always have options. And so my option I exercised at the time after that really horribly traumatic employer meeting I had was I talked to one of my friends who happened to be in HR at the time, and I told her the situation. I told her what was said to me. I told her what happened because basically they were profiting from me too much to like just fire me from that situation, right? But they decided instead to give me all these rules, and they gave me language to try to decrease my options. So I'm giving an example. Outside of work, I had a really close group of colleagues in different teams I would work with in our organization. So the first thing they said is, you can't hang out with that person. You can't talk to this people. You can't sit here. You can't sit there. So they still wanted to benefit from me, but they wanted to reduce my options. Do you see that imbalance, right? They thought, okay, she's going to grovel and do all these things we're telling her to do. She can't leave, right? She can't leave, so we're good. And I talked to my HR friend. That was my first option. I said, look, this is a situation. She said, Jen, you got to get out of there. There's no way it's going to be redeemed. You have to get out of there. And I had an option at that point to listen to her or not listen to her. In that moment, I chose to listen to her. So she helped me draft the resignation letter. I didn't know what I was going to do at the time, but I was like, hey, I have options. I'm capable. I can do this. And so I sent the letter. Huge thing because they did not expect that, right? But again, people expect you to endure horrible treatment because they think you have no other option. And I want you to know you always have options. And so I didn't know what I was going to do at that time, but I knew I had an option and I knew I had the right to my options, and I knew I had the right to be treated like a human being, and I knew I hadn't done anything wrong in that situation. If anything, I'd done the right thing, but we just had wrong leadership. From that, I was one of the highest paid people in the building, so they thought for sure they had me trapped. Long story short, I ended up leaving that, and of course there's going to be some transitional periods, but one of the things that leaving that toxic situation allowed me to do was it allowed me to take a step back and create space again and say, okay, where do I really want to focus? And one of the things I wanted to do for myself at the time, because I wanted to kind of be on the cutting edge of technology, is I said, I want to work in tech. And so I made that my goal. I made it my 2-year goal from where I was at the time to say, I want to start working in tech. And eventually I did that. So eventually I ended up making about 5 times what they were offering me to keep me trapped, right? But I wouldn't have had the opportunity to go on that path if I had not given myself the option. And so I want you to know you have options in your city, in your relationship. Anytime anybody is saying things to you to try to decrease your options, they are trying to control you and they are trying to manipulate you. You are a human being with infinite potential, infinite power, and the God-given gift of free will. You always have options. And so I want you to think about the language that's being used in your life, in the systems that benefit from making you desperate. And if you feel desperate, I want you to take a step back and start to do some thought experiments. What if I do this? What if I do that? You don't even have to believe it at first, right? Just what if I do this? What if I do that? And then use courage to exercise your options. It's not that you don't have options. It's that you need to have the courage to exercise your options. It's not always easy, but it's doable. You'll thank yourself later. Like, make decisions today that the future you is going to thank you for later. future me looks back at past me, and it's just like, man, there were so many dynamics going on in that org. There was celebrity culture and all these things, and it was positioned as this great opportunity. But I refused to let anybody ever make me feel trapped. And you should feel the same way too. I'm going to give you another example. This is even closer to home because this is a family example. Again, I came from a tough childhood. I know some people have amazing families, and that is awesome for them, but stuff with my family was rough. And I had a period where my mom was sick and recovering, and I had some toxic family members who tried to move in and basically manipulate the situation, control her and control me, take advantage of the fact that she wasn't doing well. And I had a couple of options. One day I realized there was a really particularly bad argument that happened, and it just clicked for me like crabs in a barrel. Like, these people do not care about my health. They don't care about my stress levels. They don't care about me succeeding. They don't care about supporting me in any kind of way. And it just clicked for me in my mind. I was just like, I have to get out of here. That is the only way I will be able to become anything in life. I have to get out of here. The drama that these people thrive on is way too consuming for me. I need peace. I need to get out of here. So then once I decided that that was an option, I was able to plan it. I knew I couldn't announce like, hey, I'm ready to go. And this is the mistake a lot of us make. When we're starting to try to exercise our options, we want a committee. We want all these people to be the wind beneath our wings and support us and say, yeah, you're exercising your options now. Great. But that doesn't happen. Why? Because when you exercise your options, you are no longer easy to control, and people like control. So what you have to do on your side of things is say, I'm moving forward anyway, right? And you don't have to announce all your moves. You can make your moves in silence, actually. And there's a lot of benefits to that as well, which will be a separate video. But in this case, I knew if I announced, hey, you all aren't treating me right, I'm leaving. If I had announced that, I would never have left, because they would have just done everything in their power to manipulate, bully, to try to make me stay. So what I had to do is I have to get out of here. And it may take me some time, but I'm going to do it. I started exercising my options. I was like, let me start looking for apartments. Let me find ones in my budget. On the weekends, I knew what state I wanted to move to. So on the weekends, I would leave in the morning and travel to that state, which was right next door, and then come back and act like I had just hung out with friends or did groceries that day. I didn't even tell them what I did, but I was over here driving on the weekends, taking day trips to go visit another state. I eventually found an apartment, and this was way, way before my career journey. I actually found an apartment that I really liked, that was in my budget, a beautiful neighborhood, great peaceful environment. I knew when I went there, I was like, this is where I need to be. I was like, how am I going to move? Because if I just try to get there, I knew they wouldn't even help me move, right? So I was just like, okay. And I started to move piece by piece. I would take those day trips and move, take those day trips and move. So I bought an apartment about 3 months before I ever moved. And I just moved little by little. And it just looked like I was just cleaning out my space, but I was really moving, right? And then one day they came and I was gone. And this is the example of the mentality. Once I moved, literally I had some of those same family members calling me and saying, you haven't really moved, have you? You're still here. You're just lying to us. I know you're still here. And that lets you know their mentality. There was no way they could ever imagine me moving on, right? And it took them about 1.5 years to really realize, oh, she's actually gone. I want you to know that if you're watching this, there are systems, again, because systems do this too, or people who expect you not to move, but you have options. As long as you are breathing, you have options. And the best book I could think of is Viktor Frankl's book on this. So I'm going to drop the links to that book below. It's super inspiring, super encouraging. But you have options. I want you to look at who's benefiting from your reduced options. Are there systems or people who have told you you'll never do this, you can't do that? That is all option limiting language, and you don't have room for it in your life anymore. And the third thing I want you to remember and take away from this video is that you have options. You just have to have the courage to exercise them. And courage is not the absence of fear. It's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It's just taking one step at a time, but use your right to be human. Use your right of free will. Use your options. If you don't like where you live, move. If you don't like the relationships you're in, move. If you don't like your career, move. Right? That story is an analogy for you. It's step by step, realizing that you are more powerful than what you realize. And so I want to encourage you, friend, no matter what you've been through, no matter where you've come from, no matter what people have said to you, you have options. You are not trapped. As long as you are breathing, you have options. Okay, and I want to just go through a quick list of options. I have my notes here, so you'll see me looking down. I want to go through a quick list of options you have right now that you may not be considering based off of what we've discussed. All right, so number one, you have the option to leave. As I mentioned, you have an option to move, whether it's job, relationship, city, whatever. You always have the option to move. And, there may be some rare situations where you don't. And if you are in that situation, you have other options. You have options to, number two, stay and set boundaries. You have an option, number three, to ask for help. You also have the option to wait and gather information. You have the option to do nothing and just let things unfold. You have the option to fail and start over. You have the option to disappoint people. You have the option to choose yourself. How to reclaim your power. Number one, you want to name the situation clearly. Number two, you want to list all your options, even the bad ones. Number three, you want to ask yourself, who benefits from me feeling stuck and feeling like I have no options? And why would that benefit them? And really think about that. Number four, you want to choose the option that aligns with your values. This does not have to be the easiest one. It has to be the right one for you in this moment. And then you want to take one small step towards those options. And so I hope that list is helpful for you. And I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.